Welcome back. We have confronted the Countess about her art burglary scheme and her former husband's diary. And there she goes. Which pretty much convinces me she is not the murderer, but we still don't know who the real murderer is, unfortunately. I think there's something else you can find out here right now.
The faceplate on the armor is slightly open, as if something is protruding from the inside of the dark helm.
Yeah, that's a different description than before. You can't really tell that it looks different as far as I know. You just have to look at this again and notice that.
Your close scrutiny reveals that there is indeed a body within the cramped confines of the suit of armor.
It's another body. Did somebody else get killed? No, it's Dr. Carter.
It's Dr. Pippin Carter, famous dead archaeologist.
Okay, somebody moved him here, I guess.
Dr. Carter's body has been indelicately crammed into the suit of armor. His filmy eyes gaze in mute shock. His head is bent at an unlikely angle, and the skin is puckered where the helmet's edges bite into the expanding flesh. Dr. Carter's skin is cold and disgusting to the touch. He definitely gives the appearance of being dead.
So somebody took the trouble of moving his body here. Wait, does that mean that the coffin in the Egyptian room should be empty now? I don't really know why anybody would have taken the time to do that.
A peek into the mummy case reveals that Pippin's body has been removed.
Indeed. Makes sense, but there's nothing else of interest there now. I have no clue why Pippin's body was moved, or who did that. But it is important to notice anyway. Can we tell anybody about Dr. Carrington?
You already asked me that, you silly female.
Of course not. Where shall we go? There's some places downstairs that we haven't looked at yet. Because they were occupied. I actually want to go into Dr. Carrington's office briefly, though. Maybe that body has been moved, too. Nope, he's still here.
You hear muffled voices coming through the door to Yvette's office.
But there are voices, as usual. Wonder what Yvette's up this time.
Oh, Dr. Smith, I appreciate your help so much.
Well, I don't particularly appreciate giving it. I have things to do, Miss Delacroix. Important things.
But surely you can spare the time to help me move my desk, no?
Oh, I suppose. Why do you want to move it anyway?
Oh, there is a terrible stain on the rug. I don't want it to show. We don't have to move the desk very far.
All right. Oh, it's heavy. Oh!
Oh, I am so sorry. Did you hurt yourself?
Yes. Oh no, I'm bleeding. You owe me one, miss.
But of course, Mr. Smith. I'll do anything you say. Anything. Didn't I let you in when you asked? Didn't I keep your secret?
Yes, I suppose you did. And I'm sorry about bleeding on your carpet. At least it'll blend in with the old stain. What is that anyway?
Oh, it is only strawberry jam.
I'm sure I don't want to know, Yvette.
Probably not, Dr. Smith. Now, let's go to your place.
Okay. Yvette's apparently keeping secrets for Dr. Smith too. I wonder what that's about. And there was apparently a stain on the carpet.
An Art Deco rug. Yvette covered the rug with the desk because she hates the Art Deco style, even though it's very trendy right now.
Can't really see that stain though.
Tiny dust mites are barely visible, crawling around in the fibers and dust in the rug.
I guess it might have been blood, maybe from when Ziggy was murdered here. Again, pointing at Yvette being the murderer. Although we still don't really know why. Other than the fact that she just likes to sleep around with everybody. That isn't really a motive for murder, though. That is pretty much the only thing we've actually seen her do wrong. Anyway, we're heading downstairs. Yeah, that's the only reason to go to Dr. Carrington's office right now, so you can overhear that conversation. We've been in Wolf's office. We've been in the alcohol preservation lab. We have not really had a chance to look in Ernie's office yet, though.
The intercom crackles and you hear,
Ernie, it's Olympia. The release valve in number 13 seems to be jammed. Take a look at it when you have a chance.
Okay, Ernie is not here. I was kind of hoping he would be. However, it does give us a chance to look around.
a mop and a broom. Tiny locks secure them to the wall, since the cleaning man is worried about people stealing his cleaning supplies.
Apparently. What's this on the desk? Alcohol vat book.
Ernie's index to the stored items in the alcohol vats.
That might be interesting.
Current vat contents, Alcoholic Preservation Lab. 1. Koala bears. 2. Turtles. 3. Snakes. 4. Hippo. 5. Ground sloth. 6. Skunks. 7. Loch Ness monster. 8. Ostrich. 9. Lemmings. 10. Unicorn. 11. Creature from the Black Lagoon. 12. Rats. 13. Warthogs. 14. King Edward of Daventry.
Okay, well, so that's the king we saw. It was King Edward of Daventry. King Graham's predecessor. Somehow ended up here. Also, they did have unicorns. Strange.
Current vat content.
That's the same. Something on the floor here.
This curious device is a lasso at the end of a pole used for the humane capture of snakes in the wild, or wild snakes, or something like that.
Okay. Well, that sounds like it could be useful.
You pick it up and place it in your purse.
Also a toolbox over here.
An old toolbox.
Anything in there? Oh, and Ernie shows up.
This is a private office, Miss Bow. Please leave.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Leach. I thought this was just a storage room. I'll leave now.
And that's annoying.
This door is locked.
We'll come back there and check that later. For now, let's check out VAT 13, because we heard that intercom message.
VAT 13. Indistinct shapes are floating in the murky liquid. None of the creatures are close enough to the glass to see what they are.
I think when we looked at it with the magnifying glass before...
You notice several dried streaks of liquid on the outside of the vat, up near the top.
Indeed, that does seem to indicate that somebody did something with this vat. And now one of the drains is clogged or something. This is what Olympia said, so let's see if we can find anything of interest in this particular vat. Other than King Egbert of Daventry.
Could it be? Yes. It's heavy. It's shiny. It's real gold. It's got a sharp point at one end. It's the Dagger of Amon Ra.
We found the Dagger of Amon Ra. Does anybody still care about that at this point with all these people dead?
You pick it up and place it in your purse. Boy, the alcohol fumes sure are strong in here.
Yes, indeed they are. We got the dagger.
It's the infamous, wonderful, not to mention stunning, gold Dagger of Amon Ra.
Let's make sure it doesn't say Pittsburgh.
Unlike the gift shop daggers, this one does not have Made in Pittsburgh stamped into the blade.
So it is indeed the real dagger. I guess the thief must have moved it here, thinking the gift shop maybe is not secure enough. And now we've recovered it, so that's good at least. Still don't know who stole it or who's behind those murders. Let's check out this lab over here while we're down here.
This is the mammalogy laboratory.
Apparently the mammalogy laboratory.
It's a sack of plaster, sometimes used for making molds. It's a cold storage locker, basically a heavy-duty icebox for preserving specimens and domestic snacks.
Can we open that? Oh, it's Daisy.
It's Olympia's ferret, Daisy.
Daisy seems very interested in that trunk over there. But I was looking at the icebox.
A slab of meat which smells ripe, veins of rancid fat forming abscesses that ooze copious amounts of pus run through the decomposed cut of beef. Yum, just like Mom used to make.
Quite yum.
You pick it up and place it in your purse.
We're still taking it with us, though. Anything about this?
It's too high up for you to examine with a magnifying glass, but fortunately there's nothing telltale on the sack of plaster.
Fortunately. Some boxes over here.
The crate is stenciled wild dingoes. You hate to think of how many wild dingoes are stacked up in that crate.
Can we open it?
Lugging the contents of this crate around with you would only hinder your investigation.
Really, we don't want to carry wild dingoes around?
The poster outlines basic dissection and preservation techniques. You scan it quickly, just in case you decide to make a change in your career.
Seems likely.
No hidden messages or clues are revealed by your thorough examination of the dissection poster. The word gorilla has been stenciled across the label of this large crate. Somebody's crossed out gorilla and scrawled Sasquatch underneath. Curator humor.
I'm sure.
It's nailed shut. Besides, you have no desire to confront the contents.
Yes, regardless of whether it's a Sasquatch or a gorilla, I don't need it.
The word wildebeest is stenciled on the crate's label. You're not quite curious enough to open up the crate and see what a wildebeest looks like.
Would a wildebeest even fit in that crate?
This crate is sealed, but you're not missing anything. The contents are unpleasant and hardly useful. The word hippo has been stenciled on this crate's label, but somehow you find it difficult to believe that there's a whole hippo in this box.
That's what I've been saying the whole time.
The crate is nailed shut, which is just as well since you have little use for selected hippo portions. This is the mammalogy laboratory. There's an odd assortment of tools hung on the wall. Some of the more hideous-looking implements are probably used for the practice of taxidermy. None of them appear particularly useful to you. An empty canister stands in the corner, offering no clue as to what it once contained.
Really?
Even under a magnifying glass, the label proves too worn and faded to reveal the former contents of the canister. Stacks of dusty boxes litter the floor. The shelf is crammed with mammalogy equipment.
This bottle looks different, though.
A full bottle of Dr. Moribund's guaranteed snake oil. You pick it up and place it in your purse.
It's the snake oil from Olympia's office. I guess she left it here. And now we can take
A
it.
full bottle.
Same description. Let's check this trunk.
The trunk has a name tag identifying it as part of Carrington's personal luggage. Beside it is another sticker emblazoned with the logo Andrea Doria.
Interesting. This was Dr. Carrington's trunk, the one that Steve said smelled funny. And it seems that the ferret is also very interested in it. That's probably why she's been hanging around this room. Suspicious.
You find plenty of scratches, dents, and gouges, but nothing unusual for a steamer trunk.
Can we open it?
This trunk is locked.
Nope. Too bad. I would rather like to find out what's in that. Guess we'll need to find a key or something we can use to break it open, perhaps. Can I go back into Ernie's office? I can. And he's here.
Something I can do for you, Miss Bow?
In fact, yes, we have not yet talked to you.
Mr. Leach, can you let me out of this museum? I don't like it in here. People keep dying.
Sorry, Miss Bow. I seem to have lost my door keys.
Oh, I find that very disturbing.
Me too. I can't even let myself out of the building. We're all staying here until I find those keys.
Okay. That is, inconvenient, at least. Let's interrogate him. We haven't talked to him at all yet.
Actually, I've never met the gent.
That's not surprising that he hasn't met Sam Augustini. How about Dr. Carter?
If that fellow were any more full of himself, he'd rise up and float away like a hot air balloon. The way he carries on, you'd think he discovered Atlantis.
Indeed. But he's dead now, so... How about Dr. Carrington?
Well, I don't see the gent too often. We working class folks don't see the big guys too often, you know what I mean?
Indeed. How about Detective O'Reilly?
Oh, I guess he's an okay fella. For a cop. I do wish he'd stop leaving those grape stems all over the place, though.
I'm sure you do, since you have to clean them. How about our partner, Crotfaller? If anybody still remembers who he is at this point.
Crodfaller? Isn't that one of those fancy French pastries?
Not quite. Low Fat, also a person we haven't seen in quite some time.
I've never met the fellow.
Our dad? I'm sure he knows nothing about that.
I don't know your daddy, Miss Bow, but I'm sure he's a good fella.
He is, I'm sure. How about Ziggy?
Now there's a Weasley little fella. I've heard he's a stool pigeon. That's a dangerous way to make a living.
Indeed. And he paid the price for that, I guess. But Dr. Miklos.
Dr. Miklos is a strange bird, but she's a decent sort all the same. I see her a lot at night working late. Sometimes she invites me in for coffee. She certainly is taken with the plate in my head. She must have looked at the scars a dozen times.
That sounds about normal for her. How about Yvette? You seem to know her quite intimately.
Miss Delacroix is a wonderful lady, Miss Bow. A delight to work for.
Sure. It's not like we saw you or anything. Oh. That is not what I intended to do. How about Wolf Heimlich?
That fella gives me the willies. He's always hanging around, looking over my shoulder with those suspicious eyeballs of his. Also, to tell you the ugly truth, I just haven't trusted the Germans since the war. That Kaiser guy was a real high hat.
You fought in the Great War, Mr. Leach?
Yes, I did, Miss Bow. I came back with a plate in my head and a chest full of medals, and then I couldn't get a job to save my soul.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Oh, don't let it bother you, Miss Bow. I'm just jawing. I'm doing fine now.
Are you really, though? What about those gambling debts and that fencing operation you're running? Interesting that he was in the war, though. Yeah, if you don't just trust Germans now, just wait a few years.
He's a quiet little fella. I think he does some accounting for the museum. Seems nice enough.
He does seem nice enough, although he's apparently doing some kind of ceremony somewhere. Not that we know anything about that yet. We just overheard Yvette talking about it. The Countess.
The Countess is a quite colorful old dame, isn't she? I can't help liking her.
Well, I guess we'll have to agree to disagree on that one. How about Steve?
Oh, he seems like a nice enough fella. I don't know him too well.
I guess he wouldn't. How about Dr. Smith?
Well, he's an intense sort of a gent. He's all bent out of shape about this dagger business, and he hangs around Dr. Carter a lot. He looks ready to blow a blood vessel to me.
Indeed. Himself.
Why, that's me, Miss Bow. Ernie Leach. I thought you reporters were supposed to have good memories.
And he continues the tradition of misunderstanding that question. You actually have another category here now. It's interesting. Watney Little we can ask about.
No, I can't say I ever met the man.
Yeah, I don't think he would have any reason to know about that. Okay, that's interesting. If I see other people, I will have to ask them about that too, I guess. How about some places? The Tribune.
That's a pretty good paper you work for, Miss Bow. I read through it every morning at breakfast.
Good man. The police station.
Our local cops are okay, I guess. They never give me too much of a hard time. I've heard there are some bad apples on the force, though. At least it isn't as bad as Chicago.
Nope, at least it is not that bad. Especially this time. The laundry?
I don't go to a laundry, Miss Bow. I wash my own clothes. It saves a few pennies.
Smart thing to do, I guess. The docks.
I'm not fond of the docks myself, Miss Bow. I did a short stint over there a couple of years back. I got treated like a dog and nearly got squashed flat by a huge crate of oranges one time. No, thank you.
Indeed. Doesn't sound like fun to work there. How about the museum?
At first, I wasn't sure I'd like it here in this big, spooky old place. But it was so peaceful at night, and there's so many interesting things everywhere. I really enjoy it now.
That's good to hear. Plus, it probably helps with your fencing, doesn't it? How about New York?
Do you like New York City, Mr. Leach?
New York's my home, Miss Bow. I was born and raised here, and it's in my blood. Sometimes I think I'd like to go somewhere else, where life is a little slower. But to tell you the truth, I don't think I could ever really leave.
Have you ever been to the Speakeasy?
Well, a lot of people think those places are the cat's pajamas. I used to go to them a lot. right after I got back from the war. I don't so much anymore.
And that's probably a good thing. We have a lot of things we could be asking him about. Like the notebook.
I guess most of you reporter sorts keep a notebook. Right, Miss Bow? Be kind when you write about me.
Magnifying glass?
Well, isn't that interesting, Miss Bow? I guess you reporters have to look carefully for your clues.
He didn't laugh. The text said he was laughing. A water glass?
You don't have to carry a glass around with you, Miss Bow. You can get a drink anytime you want from the refreshment table.
True, that's not what we were using it for, though. How about that bone?
Oh, this whole place is full of bones, Miss Bow. If you want to know what it is, ask Dr. Miklos.
I guess we haven't done that yet either. How about the medallion?
I'm not sure, but I think it's one of those Egyptian symbols. They've got 1,000,000 of them.
Indeed. Anything about Pippin's notepad?
Yeah, I've noticed old Pippin carrying a notepad around. He probably wrote down some nasty comments for future reference.
Actually, he just used it to write down meetings, at least on the page we saw. The carbon paper would be interesting to ask about, because that mentions the fencing operation after all.
I don't have much use for carbon paper. You might ask that Ramses fella. He's a bean counter. He probably uses it.
Unfortunately, we can't actually ask him about what it said. How about charcoal?
We burned charcoal in the museum furnace, Miss Bow. It might have come from there.
It was in a fireplace, so no. The lantern?
That's a high-quality lantern. My cousin Bobby uses one just like it. He works in a mine in Pennsylvania.
Good to know. Cheese.
I don't eat much cheese myself. I'm more of a meat and potatoes man.
Okay. The garter we should probably ask a vet about, but still.
Now, where did you get that, Miss Bow? Maybe you should put that away.
It is Yvette's garter, and we saw him being intimate with her, so that's not surprising. How about the police file?
Good Lord, that fella has a rap sheet a mile long. I hope I never meet up with him.
It's possible you already have. Snake lasso? We found it in his room, so hopefully he won't mind that we took it.
What in the world is that? I don't have anything like that in my toolkit.
It was in your office. Maybe Dr. Miklos left it here? The Dagger of Amon?
That's one fancy pig sticker. I hope they find it soon.
I already found it. What about this meat?
You found a slab of meat lying around in here? It probably belongs to Dr. Miklos. Sometimes she keeps live critters around to study. She had a whole pack of pine weasels one time.
Okay. How about the snake oil?
Snake oil? Isn't that what those traveling medicine shows used to sell to rubes? You don't look like a rube, Miss Bow.
Why, thank you for that. How about this year?
Mr. Leach, has 1926 been a good year for you?
Yes and no, Miss Bow. Times are tough, but at least I've got this job at the museum. That's more than a lot of folks have.
Do you like your job here at the museum?
Yes, I do. This sort of work doesn't really tax my brains, if you know what I mean. It gives me time to think.
Think about what, Mr. Leach?
You sure act like a reporter, Miss Bow.
Well, she is one, so that's not strange. How about the burglary?
Mr. Leach, do you have any idea who might have taken the Dagger of Amon Ra?
I sure don't. Well, I halfway wonder if it wasn't one of those Egyptian fellas. They probably think I took it.
Was the dagger well guarded?
Oh sure, it was locked up tighter than a drum. Somebody really pulled a fast one.
Indeed. Still interesting that they managed to do that. You know anything about Egyptology?
Do you know much about Egyptology, Mr. Leach?
No, Miss Bow, I really don't. I think it's very interesting though. I picked up a book about it in the museum shop, but I haven't had time to read it yet.
How about hieroglyphs?
Hey, that's some of that Egyptian writing. I've seen it in the Ancient Egypt exhibit. Dr. Carter sure is proud of that display.
I guess that tells you where to look for the Rosetta Stone if you haven't found the other half yet. The one that's in the Egyptology room, if you found the one that's in Olympia's room, but not that one. I guess you could use that to find this. How about the diary?
I'm afraid I don't know what you're talking about, Miss Bow.
Alright. Anything else in here? Not much we can do while he is in here, unfortunately.
I'm sorry, Miss Bow, but I'm kind of busy right now. Is there something I can help you with? If not, I've got work to do. Miss Bow, I've got a lot of...
Unfortunately, we have no choice.
This door is locked.
I need to be in there, though, without him being there. Of course, I had no problems with this while practicing. Curse of the Let's Play, as usual. Let's hope we can make him leave.
This door is locked.
And it looks like we can't. Gonna try this one more time. Ah, good. That worked. Oh, and the stool box is open again, like I left it when I was here last time. Let's make sure we look at that.
A pair of heavy-duty wire cutters. There's a bit of rust on the wire cutters, as well as an odd bit of beige coat fabric.
Wonder if these wire cutters were used to cut down the pterodactyl.
You pick it up and place it in your purse.
Although at this point I don't see how Ernie would be related to that, although I guess Yvette could have gotten that from this office. There's also something on the wall here.
This appears to be a large button on the wall.
Oh great, is it going to open another passage that will instantly kill us?
When you push the button, you hear a sliding noise off in the distance, clearly originating outside of this room.
Okay, it did open a passage, but not in here. Let's look around now.
The world's first blender, invented 50,000 years ago by a Neanderthal named Boog. Instead of a motor, it was powered by a pair of gerbils running in a crude treadmill. Considered impractical by the other Neanderthals, Boog's invention was forgotten until 1922, when it was reinvented by Stephen J. Poplawski of Wisconsin for the purpose of mixing malted milkshakes. At that time, the blender was known as a vibrator. Stephen made a fortune from it. Boog should also have invented the first patent.
Sounds likely.
A collection of Anasazi polychrome pottery from the cliff dwellings at Mesa Verde in Colorado. Ernie's private boxed collection of World War I souvenirs.
That'd be interesting to see.
Don't touch it. You don't know where it's been.
We can't, though.
This is the storage room that has been converted to an office for Ernie Leach. It's a bust of Nefertiti, Egyptian queen of the 14th century BC and wife of the pharaoh Akhenaten. Ernie Ernie's private boxed collection of World War I soup. Ernie's Wampitas, Foma, Granfalloons, and assorted oddments.
What? Are any of those real words?
Wampitas,
Oh, and Ernie came back.
Miss Bow, I've warned you before. This is my private office. Understand?
I was just helping Olympia look for her ferret. Yeah, that's it. Here, little ferret. Here, girl.
The ferret's not here. Get out.
Alright, well I guess we need to figure out where that passage opened. Must be down here somewhere. Doesn't look like it's in here, though. But I guess we'll need to do that in the next video.